The last time the Eagles and 49ers met in the playoffs, January 29th, 2023, the NFC Championship game at Lincoln Financial Field. The Eagles won that one 31-7 to advance to Super Bowl 57. The Eagles had 4 rushing touchdowns, and the defense in that game knocked out Brock Purdy and Josh Johnson. The Eagles and 49ers will renew their postseason rivalry on Sunday. Welcome into this Eagle Eye edition of Birds Huddle, presented by Toyota, official automotive partner of the NFL. With my podcast partner, Ruben Frank, I'm Dave Zangaro. Rube, the Eagles are making their 5th straight playoff appearance. The 49ers making their 5th playoff appearance in the last 7 seasons. These two franchises have been the class of the NFC for a while now.
Yeah, and it's hard to be good year after year after year. Not many franchises can do it, and these are two of the ones that have done it, and they're just in the playoffs every year. They win playoff games. They have stability. They're two franchises that have stability at coach and very good quarterbacks and good defenses. So if you have those things, you can be good every year, and not a lot of teams do it. The Bills, the Ravens, up until this year, but the 49ers and Eagles in the NFC are the two teams that are just always there when the playoffs begin.
And they haven't played each other in a while. That's going to make this game a lot of fun. Our 3-point stance is presented by Toyota. Number 1, health is wealth in the playoffs, and the Eagles are healthy. There's a good chance that 21 of their 22 starters will be on the field Sunday. The Eagles go to great length year-round to keep their players healthy. That's something Nick Sirianni discussed this week.
You got to have your players available, and you do different things to make sure that happens throughout the year. But it is so important that you continue to get better as the season goes on. Our guys know how to practice. They know how to practice efficiently. So, we've had a tendency of getting better while also having guys healthy. Our guys do such a good job of using the resources they have, taking care of themselves, and I think we have a pretty good process. So, yeah, as an organization, I think we take a lot of pride in that.
Rube, this is the NFL. We know injuries happen. Luck plays a role in this, but this is pretty consistent with the Eagles, too. When they make their deep playoff runs, they've been pretty healthy.
Yeah, it was true in the 2 Super Bowls, not in the Super Bowl in 17. They were missing a bunch of guys. They won it anyway. But the organization really puts a premium on being healthy, and they do everything. They've researched things. They do a lot of studies on how to stay healthy. They've looked at teams that have stayed healthy. I think you go back to training camp and the nature of their practices. They're shorter. They get their work done and they're physical, but they're not real long practices. They get the guys on the field and off the field. The older guys don't practice as much during training camp. They have Wednesday walkthroughs the second half of the season. So a lot of what they do as far as the practice schedule is keeping the guys off their feet and keeping them healthy. And so far it's paid off. And here we are again with a healthy roster. And look, everybody wanted the 2 seed. It would have been nice to have it, but the flip side is you go in healthy, and you didn't lose anybody this weekend.
Yeah, we spent all of last week debating that topic. And look, there was a downside to it for sure, but the upside is what we're seeing right now. You have the potential to have 21 of 22 starters on the field, and you're right. Those 2 Super Bowls under Nick Sirianni, those 2 Super Bowl runs came with really good health. Back in 57, Super Bowl 57, they had 22 of 22. Last year, 21 of 22. The only guy they were missing was Nakobe Dean. So you enter these playoffs. We know no Drew Makuba, the rookie safety, but they've been pretty solid even without him. And some of the guys are question marks like Lane Johnson, Marcus Epps, Nakobe Dean. It looks like there's a good chance those guys are going to play.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You're going to have guys banged up, but they're getting them all back. And, I would expect Lane to be there on Sunday. I think Nakobe will be there. And we'll see about Marcus Epps with the concussion, but they have a chance to have everybody in place, which is great value going into the playoffs.
It is. And then you look at the 49ers, and they're a little more banged up, and I think that does play a big role. Moving on to our second stance, Jalen Hurts is comfortable on the playoff stage. Sunday will be Hurts' 10th career postseason start. Take a look at his playoff numbers here. Very good. He's 6-3, a completion percentage just under 67%, 10 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, a passer rating of 95.4, more than 40 rushing yards per game, and 10 rushing touchdowns. Rube, how big of an advantage is it in January and February to have a quarterback who's battle-tested?
Yeah, February is the big part of that question. And Jalen's the only quarterback in the postseason this year who's played in more than one Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers has only made one. He won it 15 years ago. Stafford won one. Purdy's been to one. But his experience is really valuable, and he's played well in the biggest moments on the biggest stage, and you feel really comfortable having a quarterback with that kind of experience. And he's only really had one bad postseason game. It was that first game in Tampa, his first year as a starter. He threw 2 interceptions. Since then, 9 touchdowns and 1 interception in the postseason. So he's been consistent. He's been efficient. He's been productive. I think he's run more in the playoffs. You can make a case he's been a better postseason quarterback than regular season quarterback. The consistency has been there, and that's something that's really valuable this time of year.
Yeah, I think it's important. And you think about 2 of the best games we've seen this guy play have been the 2 Super Bowls he's been in, and that means something to me. And that doesn't absolve him for poor play in the regular season. We talk about it. We bring it up because we live in the moment, right? He has a bad game. We say he has a bad game, but there's a certain element to this that he deserves the benefit of the doubt, because when they get in these high-pressure playoff game situations, he is pretty clutch. I know he takes pride in being a quote-unquote clutch player. I think he's earned that reputation.
Yeah, the moment's never too big for him, and we've seen it on crucial 4th downs, 4th quarter drives, just those big moments, the lights shining the brightest, and he always comes up big in those situations.
Yeah, you learn to trust him, and I think Nick Sirianni appreciates that too. These guys together now have a ton of experience. It's not just Jalen. That's the important part about this. It's a lot of these guys have been in big games before.
Yeah, I mean, they've been in the playoffs every year that Nick's been here and every year that Jalen's been a starter. There's not a lot of teams that can say that.
Our third stands tonight, the Kyle Shanahan-Vic Fangio chess match will be fascinating on Sunday. Shanahan, one of the best play callers in football. Fangio, one of the best defensive coordinators we've ever seen. Earlier today, I asked Fangio what impresses him most about the way Kyle Shanahan coaches offense.
Everything's packaged well together, and he's a good play caller during the game. You always know that. And everything they do has a purpose and a reason.
Has Kyle changed much over the years? Have you seen an evolution?
Not really, I don't think. I think he's just evolved like all of us have.
Vic Fangio and Kyle Shanahan are friends, and Fangio actually nearly became Shanahan's defensive coordinator when Shanahan took that 49ers job in 2017. So, Rube, it's going to be a fun chess match. What do you expect out of it?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's kind of like Bobby Fischer versus Boris Spassky, right? And they both know each other so well. They know what the other one's going to do. And then you try to kind of anticipate it and also be ready for something else, because they're going to try to do some things that they don't expect. So that's what makes it so fun. You got 2 guys at the top of their game, and Vic is as good a play caller and defensive coach as he's ever been. 40 years into his NFL career, which is crazy. And Shanahan, I think, is as good a offensive constructor as we've seen in the league. So it's going to be a great matchup. And, I think that's, look, when the Eagles offense is on the field and the Niners defense, it's not going to quite be the same, because you have 2 units that aren't the best, among the best in the league. But when Vic is facing Shanahan, that's going to be kind of what really sets this game apart.
Yeah, it's good on good. It's a classic matchup of the strengths of both teams and 2 guys who run it better than anyone else in the league. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I think a lot of it comes down to matching personnel groups. We see the 49ers have a bunch of different personnel groups. They'll go heavy with 2 running backs and 2 tight ends at times. What does Vic Fangio want to do? Does he want to live in his sub-packages where they've been so successful? We saw the Seahawks do that last week. If they can do that, and that's the thing I thought watching that Seahawks game, right? That was a dominant defensive performance. I got to be honest, I sat there and watched that and thought, I think the Eagles can do this too.
Yeah, we'll see. And I think what I like most about Vic is his ability to adjust as games go on. It's really remarkable. Like, they could be getting gashed on the ground in the first quarter, maybe the second quarter. By the second half, they're shutting it down. And it just seems like he has that ability to take away what's working for the other team by the second half, and that makes him dangerous.
Yeah, very willing to adjust on the fly. He's one of the best at it. Can't wait for that. With Stock Up, Stock Down, presented by Philliport. Stock up to the Eagles wide receiver duo of A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. For the 3rd time in their 4 seasons as teammates, both Brown and Smith surpassed the 1,000-yard mark. Smith had 52 receiving yards on Sunday to give him 1,008 for the season. Brown finished with 1,003. From the wideouts to the running backs, time for Up to the Challenge, presented by First Trust Bank, official bank of the Eagles. 2 of the best backs in football will be on the field Sunday at the Link. The 49ers' Christian McCaffrey and the Eagles' Saquon Barkley. Their rushing numbers this season were similar, but McCaffrey had a big edge in receiving yards and total touchdowns. Today for NBC Sports Philadelphia.com, I wrote an article detailing 5 reasons for optimism and 5 concerns as the Eagles enter the playoffs. Rube, let's start with the 5 reasons for optimism. You see them here. Let's take a look through these. We have the championship level defense. They're healthy. Jalen Hurts being battle tested, the offensive weapons, and there not being another elite team in the NFC. Which of those stands out to you the most, Rube?
Well, number 4, they have the weapons. We haven't seen the offense operate consistently at a high level, but when you have the receivers that they have and the tight end and the running back and the quarterback, I mean, this is an offense that potentially, if Kevin Patullo can call a good game, can be scoring 30 points a game. So the talent is there. It's not like they don't have talent on this offense. They just haven't really put it together against good teams. So as long as they have those guys healthy, there's a chance they can kind of figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, that's been the source of the frustration all year, is because you see, hey, they still have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, Dallas Goedert. Like, they should be able to do more than what they have been. So maybe talent wins out in the postseason. I think that's possible.
It's possible.
Yeah. If I had to look at that, I think obvious answer there is the defense. They're an excellent defense led by Vic Fangio. I think they can carry them. But then number 5, the NFC, I think it is wide open. And, every team in this conference has flaws, the Eagles among them certainly. But I don't think there's one team in this conference that you look at and say, they're a runaway team. I just don't think that team exists.
You look at the Seahawks, they're probably the best team in the conference, but then you look at Sam Darnold, and are you really terrified of Sam Darnold in a February game? So you're right. It's wide open.
Okay, enough of that positivity stuff. Let's get negative here. The 5 reasons for concern. Take a look here. Number 1, the play caller and the offense. They can't lean on the run anymore. Jake Elliott has been slumping. That defense has an awful lot of pressure on it, and that path is maybe not as easy as it was in previous years. What stands out to you there?
Yeah, number 5, they've never gotten to a Super Bowl having to win a game on the road. In 1980, in 04, 17, 22, and 24, all 5 Super Bowls, they were at home throughout the playoffs up until the Super Bowl. So going on the road, look, they're a very good road team, but it's not as easy to win on the road as it is at the Link.
Yeah, that's fair. I think the obvious one here is the play caller and the offense, because the weapons are great. We've seen 18 weeks of this now, 17 games, and it hasn't been up to the level we expect. This is an offense that should be scoring more points, should be more efficient, and for whatever reason, it just hasn't been there. We hear talk about flipping a switch. Can they flip a switch in the postseason? That seems unlikely, but can they get better is the real question. Can they be an average offense? If they can, I think this team has a chance to go far.
Yeah, I just, we haven't seen it against a good team other than the Rams game, which was week 3, and they were coming back, so they were in comeback mode. We just haven't seen them put up big numbers against any good team. They haven't scored over 19 points against a team with a winning record since week 3, and that's cause for alarm right now.
It is. We'll see if he can get fixed in the playoffs. Time now for Birds Trivia, presented by Groundworks, your trained and certified experts for basement repair. Here we go. Who's the only Eagles player with 50 or more rushing yards and 50 or more receiving yards in the same playoff game?